So you've decided to homeschool and now you're wondering, what do I do next? In today's video, I'm going to give you 10 tips to help you get started on your homeschooling program. Tip number 1 is to understand your state laws for homeschooling. I'm going to post a link in the description below where you can go to find your state, and here you will find what you have to do to send in a letter of intent to your state, what is needed to be able to homeschool, how many days you're supposed to homeschool, what is needed as far as assessment or end of the year evaluation, and any subjects that need to be taught. After you have all the legal things out of the way, then you can get started on the fun stuff. Tip number 2 is to get connected with the homeschool community. You want to go onto your Facebook groups and look up homeschool communities. You want to definitely try to get involved with some sort of homeschool group that meets outside of the home once a week or once a month. These are called homeschool co-ops. Tip number 2 is to get connected with other homeschoolers. Having a connection with other homeschoolers makes you feel not as alone. There are so many people that homeschool and you really shouldn't feel like you're doing this by yourself. There are great communities out there to get connected with. I also recommend that you do your research on homeschooling. There's a lot of misconceptions about socialization, brick and mortar schools being better than homeschooling, you not giving your kids the proper education. There's so many misconceptions about homeschooling that most people have because they're not educated on the homeschooling process or lifestyle or anything about homeschooling at all. So make sure you educate yourself. You also definitely want to make sure that you are getting connected into a homeschool co-op. Some people don't like homeschool co-ops, but I highly recommend them. When I first started homeschooling, this was the way that I found my whole community of people. What better way to start something new than to have a bunch of like-minded friends, not just for yourself but for your children too. It's hard when kids are in a neighborhood full of kids who go to public school and they have no friends that are homeschooled. So your homeschool co-op gives them a bunch of friends that are homeschooled just like they are, families that have the same morals, the same values a lot of the time, and for you to have a lot of mom time and a lot of friends that are like-minded and homeschool just like you. We have found our very best friends. For 9 years now, I've been friends with the same people that I met 9 years ago when we first started homeschooling, and we met them at our homeschool co-op. Tip number 3 is to learn about teaching styles, learning styles, and homeschool methods. These 3 things are going to guide your whole homeschool. How you teach your children, how your children learn, and like everything. It's going to basically determine everything about your homeschool. So make sure you know your kids' learning style. There's plenty of websites online where you can go to test and find out what their learning style is. What is your teaching style? Do you like to teach? Do you like the look of teaching school at home? Do you like more of the Charlotte Mason approach? Do you like Montessori approach? Do you like unschooling? There's so many different methods of homeschool styles and methods of teaching. You just have to do your research, figure it all out, or if you don't feel like doing your research, just do what you know and what you like best. Tip number 4 is to find your homeschool curriculum. You definitely want to find something that works best for you, but don't feel like once you've chosen your curriculum that you're stuck on this curriculum. I'm going to make a separate video on this, on how to go about choosing the best curriculum for your homeschool, but you can get started watching this playlist here that reviews or has day of the lives of all the stuff that we've used. It took us about 3 or 4 years before we settled into our curriculum, and we're still adding and taking away certain things. But for like our main course, actually, you know, like for language arts, we found that 3 years into homeschooling. I've tried a whole bunch of different things. 3 or 4 years into homeschooling, and finally found what we're going to use for language arts. But history keeps changing. Science keeps kind of changing, so don't feel like you have to stick with the one thing for your whole homeschool year or your whole homeschool life. You can change it every year. You can change it in the middle of the year. We changed our math in the middle of the year. You can do whatever you want. That's the beauty of homeschooling. You're not committed to anybody else's rules or regulations or curriculum. Tip number 5 is to consider a schedule or a daily flow. Not a schedule like a time-to-time schedule. You can consider a block schedule. If you want to know what the heck a block schedule is, make sure you check out this video in the card above. It'll explain what a block schedule is and how to go about using it in your homeschool. Or you can just have a daily rhythm, like a daily rhythm to your day. What do you do when you wake up and after breakfast? And it's just, there's no set schedule, but this is kind of how your day normally flows. So consider that when you're homeschooling. maybe even making a homeschool vision of what you want your homeschool to look like. Of course, it's not going to look like that right away, especially when you're first starting out. You're going to have to get into it and dive into the homeschooling day and have a day after day, week after week, before you settle into a rhythm. It could take the whole year, it could take 2 years before you settle into your rhythm, and that's okay. You have time to decide what you like and what you don't like about your homeschooling. So tip number 6, I kind of gave you already, but that was to consider joining a homeschool co-op. They have ones that meet once a month just for field trips, or once a month for classes. Then you have your weekly co-ops where your kids go once a week to a certain place and they can take classes. They can take their core classes like writing or science or geography or history, or they can just take fun classes like musical theater, drama, art, music. So these co-ops are great for many reasons. You get your children exposed to being around other kids and other teachers. If you're homeschooling, they're with you most of the time. This gives them an opportunity to be around other adults and learn from other adults as well. It also gives them an opportunity to learn subjects that you don't know how to teach or wouldn't normally teach them, and they get to learn in a group setting with you still homeschooling at home, whatever, you know, your core subjects or whatever it is that you decide to do. They also set up field trips for these co-ops, which are always fun for kids. You get to meet your friends there for you if you're willing to be social, and your children also get to have friendships made at the co-op. There's so many benefits to homeschool co-op, and I'm going to post a day in the life of our homeschool co-op that we had a couple years ago. This video was made, and I'll try to see if I can, well, I won't be able to make one this year because I'll be teaching all day. But check out this video, and it was a day in the life of our homeschool co-op about 3 years ago. And it was awesome. Like, we had so much fun. You'll see me running around like a crazy person because I had 3 kids. I had 2 of them each in different classes, and then I had a toddler at the time with me. But it's a pretty cool video, you guys. Make sure you check that out. Tip number 7 is to create a homeschooling space. Now, you don't need a whole homeschooling room. I like to have a whole homeschooling room because I like to have all my stuff in one place and have a designated area where I just have all of my stuff. For me, when I first started homeschooling, that place was we had an office at our old house, and that I turned into my homeschool room. And then we needed the room to move my mother in, so then we homeschooled in our formal living room. Then when we moved to the new house, we also homeschool in our formal living room. So like, once you walk in, you're walking into the classroom. But it's the only space we have, and I love it. And I will make a homeschool room tour once I get the rest of my furniture in. Which reminds me, I probably should get started in ordering it. Some people homeschool out of their dining room. Some people homeschool all over the house. Some people keep their stuff in the dining room or in the kitchen cabinets. So you can go on Pinterest, or you can go on YouTube and look up homeschool room tours for small spaces, or any keywords that you want to use in there, and find a setup that'll work for you and your family. You just want a place that you can at least store your curriculum and your books, and a place for the kids to sit, even if it's on the couch. But you want to be, at least you need a place to store your stuff. So if you want a whole homeschool room, or if you don't, either way, you can find other people who can give you tips and advice on what to do. Tip number 8 is to be open to change. Nobody gets it the first time around. You're going to be changing your homeschool area around like crazy. You're going to be overbooking your kids' schedule. You're going to be getting every curriculum in the world and not be able to use half of it. You're going to buy curriculum, spend $200 on something, and then never use it, like I just did. I'm trying to sell it. So if you're looking into buying a Spanish curriculum for your homeschoolers, that's $200. Leave me a comment in the description below. You're going to be switching up your homeschool style. You may go from school at home to unschooling. You may change dramatically. You may be adding in new topics. Just be open-minded to change, because like I said, nobody gets it right the first time around. And that first year of homeschooling and the first few months is tough. Give yourself some grace, have patience with your kids. Especially if this is their first homeschool year, this is something new to them. They have to get used to the idea of doing school at home and you being their teacher. And especially if you have older kids, it's pretty tough. It can be pretty challenging with the older kids, especially in that middle school age when they don't want to do anything that you want them to do. But there's other people. Just find that homeschool connection to those parents that can help you, give you tips and advice on what to do in those different situations. You're gonna have bad homeschool days. You're gonna have homeschool burnout, and it is all okay, and it is all normal. and I have a video on like every one of those subjects, so make sure you just check out all my videos. But definitely it's okay not to get it right the first time. Tip number 9 is embrace the homeschooling lifestyle and do not try to copy school at home. It's not meant to be school at home. Your kids don't have to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day. They're not in a public school setting or private school. You're home, and the beauty of homeschooling is that your kids can learn wherever they want. You can create in your children a love of learning by having them read their books in forts, or do their math outside in a hammock, or laying on the couch and cuddled up while you read out loud to them. Embrace the lifestyle of homeschooling. Maybe you can start your mornings with a morning walk or bike ride, or maybe you want to use the whole morning, go on a field trip, and then do some classes at night. Or maybe you just don't want to do school and you just want to have a unschooling day and learn about volcanoes or something that your child brought to you that they were super interested in. Or maybe you want to skip a day and go on a field trip to the zoo and spend the whole day there. Embrace this lifestyle. Enjoy your children. Enjoy the time with them, especially if you're only planning on doing this for a year. You can make some great lasting memories in this 1 year of homeschooling. If you're homeschooling because of the coronavirus, you guys can make some great lasting memories in this one homeschool year. And you never know, you might love it so much that you won't send your kids back. Tip number 10, of course, is to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you guys are notified every time I post a video. I am doing a whole series answering questions for new homeschoolers for however long it takes. My plan was to do it for the next 2 months, but if it takes longer, I'm gonna do that. Every Monday and Fridays, you guys are gonna get a video with answering different questions that you may have about homeschooling. And if there's ever a question that I'm not getting to or something that pops into your mind, please leave it in the comments below, because if you have that question, someone else is sure to have it as well. Then every Wednesday, I'm going to be posting videos like homeschool day in the lives, maybe some curriculum reviews, things for more established homeschoolers or for you guys looking into other things. So just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is going to be my new posting schedule for a little while. And so make sure that you subscribe, because you need to stay connected to the resources that you're going to need to homeschool, and I hope to be one of those big resources for you. I want to thank you guys so much for watching these videos. Please make sure to give me a thumbs up. It really helps out, and I will see you in the next video.